What is up, all of my fellas? As time passes and seasons change, things get different. I have been going through a little bit of like a mental transformation over the past period of like a couple months now. I have spoken a lot about AI on this channel, and I have been pretty critical of it for a lot of the time, and I'm going to remain critical of it for a long time, like just for the immediate future, because when I sit down and I think about it, I think, I don't like looking at this and seeing what it is doing right now, because I live in the present, and a lot of my actions revolve around what's happening now. And a lot of things I can say I am working towards the future on something. That is, I'm about to rant, but that's something that's like really cool about humans, is that we can do things that don't benefit us now, but do benefit us in the future. That is not something that a lot of creatures do. For example, one thing that I've said is a great example of this is like flossing. Flossing actually has a negative effect on us in the immediate term. When you floss, you're screwing with your gums, and a lot of times, if you don't floss very frequently, you're going to make your gums bleed. But we as a species know that flossing is better for us in the long term. In the short term, yeah, it may be annoying, it may be tedious, it might not give us an immediate good result, but in the long term, it can help us have better dental health. We are able to make that decision and make that value judgment in our mind to figure out whether or not we want to do that in the future or not, such that we get the best outcome that we want out of our time and our action. And it is this same value judgment that I need to make towards my thoughts and opinions about AI. I just did a stream. It was a couple days ago now. It's been a minute. I've been busy. I haven't had time to put all this together, edit it, and release it. I did a stream. During that stream, I mentioned, there was some conversation. I mentioned something. I think I mentioned that I was using AI to make my YouTube video tags and occasionally description if it fed me a description that felt right. 99% of the time it doesn't, so I just don't put it in there. And I was also using it to give me tags for videos because I'm just not bothered to do it. I just couldn't be bothered to do, I said tags, I meant hashtags. I just couldn't be bothered to do tags or hashtags. That is just something that I genuinely don't care about. I've heard so many things, whether it's like, okay, it actually helps, or it does next to nothing. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm never gonna know for sure if it does or doesn't do yes or no or whatever. And I keep seeing mixed things. I see they're really good and I see they do next to nothing. They used to be really good and now they don't do anything, which is why people think they do stuff now, even though things have changed and they don't do anything now. Or that's wrong. I don't know. I couldn't figure it out. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. So my position is that I'm just not going to care. I'm just not going to bother. If I have to put in the effort to do it, I'm just not going to. A thing that I've been doing with my channel a lot is just like mimicking the people that I watch, because that's what I watch. That's what I would watch. I don't see a reason in doing something and producing something that I personally wouldn't watch. There's no point. Why would I do that? I don't want to make something that I personally wouldn't watch. And so that's where like a lot of my content has been going recently. And the majority of the people's content that I consume, they're not including these things like tags in the video. They're just not in a lot of the videos that I watch, just don't have tags. So like, I'm thinking like, why do I need to bother with it on my own? And if I can take the 1 minute of extra time of exporting the video and then getting a transcript, copying and pasting that transcript into ChatGPT, clicking enter, copying and pasting that result into YouTube, and then just sending it. I mean, it's like, it takes like literally a minute. And if it does something better, I'll take that. I'll take that. And if it doesn't, it was like a minute per video. I can spend that time maybe giving myself the placebo that I'm doing better than I would have been had I not done it. This comes with the moral caveat of I have been really critical of AI for a long time and a long while. It hasn't really been until recently that I've had this thought in my head that I need to embrace it to an extent, okay, because there's still a value judgment over embracing AI or not embracing AI, because I can concede and I fully understand that in the meantime, in the right now, AI can and will be doing a lot of bad to a lot of people. But there will be a future where it wouldn't be, where it's not. In the same way, not like like the internet or phones. I'll use cell phones as an example. The same way cell phones right now can and do a lot of bad to people, to the point where like people are trying to ditch their cell phones, getting like dumb phones and stuff. I have considered it at a point Many times, actually, I've considered getting a dumb phone, but there are just certain things that I unfortunately have to have my phone to do. In our society, you kind of just have to have a mobile phone or a smartphone. Of my friends who do have dumb phones, they struggle with a lot in school because you just have to have a smartphone. There are some things that you just literally can't do without a smartphone. But that's another rant. That's another rant. But whenever these were coming out, there were a lot of people who were very adamantly against them. And those people were left behind, were the people who didn't pick them up as they were coming out and just let them float on by. Same way now, the people who I would predict are just letting AI float on by and they're avoiding it are going to be struggling in the future whenever it is a necessity. And, maybe AI is going to be different than cell phones. AI is probably going to be dead easy, the easiest thing to ever use. Maybe. And then maybe the people of the past who were embracing cell phones at the time might have been making this exact same argument about cell phones in the future, claiming that they would be dead easy for anyone to use. And then the people of that time who were passing them up would be able to easily pick them up in the future. I don't know. This is not really part of the main conversation. Maybe AI is dead easy in the future. And me having decided to pick up and learn how to use it now is not going to change anything because someone else standing right next to me who never touched it now is going to be just as good as it as I am in the future. Don't know. That's another conversation. Don't really care. Anyways, point being, yes, AI can and will be really bad right now. Can and is be really bad right now. But in the future, it won't be. It won't be. And as I made in an argument that I had a couple videos ago, every single new big development in technology, communications technology, create the technology that creates something, there has always been a whole lot of pushback and a big period of disruption. And right now we are in that same period. And I made this article or this argument in that video. I made the argument whenever I was talking about it on stream, which I'm going to play later. And I'm going to make the argument again right now. You're going to hear it twice in this video. We are in the period of disruption. Things are going to be bad for a long time and things are going to be really bad. But whenever the next period of disruption happens, we're going to look back at this period and go, we're not going to think anything about it. Just like we don't think about the invention of writing. We don't think about the invention of the television. We don't think about the invention of the radio. We don't think about the invention of the printing press because they're just things that always have been and always will be. And we just go, they were real. And we weren't in the time when we were thinking, wow, this is really bad for me existing right now. This is going to do really bad things for me and the people of the future. It's going to be really bad. And then it turned out, that's what I see AI being in the future. It will be really bad for a period, and then it will be, and then This is the argument that I'm gonna put forward. Whole long stream segment. That's why the video is like an hour long, because this was an incredibly long rant about a whole lot of nonsense. In the comments, if you made it to the end of the video, okay, this is an editing style that I have yet to do, and I haven't done it for a while. It's going to be something very new for the, where I've been as a YouTube channel recently. Let me know if it was watchable by the end of it. In addition, I also say things that were just factually incorrect. There were some times I've already edited it all. I'm just going to drop this in and upload it, drop this segment here. I've already edited the whole thing. There were some things I said that were just factually incorrect, like just straight up factually wrong. And so there's like a blurb of text. I'm sure I got more things factually wrong in that argument. I'm sure I didn't accurately portray my arguments in an easily understandable way because all of this was just straight off the noggin. It was just off rip the whole time. I was just going. And so if there's anything you would possibly argue against any of that, drop it in the comments. If there's anything I said that was wrong or that you disagree with or that you don't think is going to be the future, drop it in the comments. And if there is enough conversation, I will make a follow-up video. And this stuff is really fun to talk about. I had a lot of fun talking about this topic and about its effect on us as a society in the future. I'll do it again. I'll do it again. I'll do it twice. I'll do it 3 times. I'll do it 4 times. It's really fun. Anyways, cue an hour-long straight of me ranting with different mic quality and junk on the screen that you don't care about. Put me off to the side and then start doing something else. I'm background noise now. Okay, see ya. Oh yeah, what I was saying on AI. What I was going to say on AI before I get there. My outlook on AI is really changing recently. I did a video a while back. Now, it feels like over half my YouTube videos at this point have been me bashing AI. Like literally right before I started streaming, I uploaded a video on these, it was a group of guys who dropped out of college immediately after modding, connecting some the Meta Ray-Ban recording glasses to a program that allowed them to as they're wearing it, just scans people's faces and then pull up all the public information about them. They dropped out and immediately started up a company which made like AI glasses that essentially their whole goal. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I've done videos on like data privacy and stuff too, just about like ranting about it in general, ranting just like this. This is why my YouTube videos feel like so yeah, the glasses were crazy. Like I hate the glasses, absolutely hate it. I hate the Ray-Ban glasses. Anyways, so they came up with a new set of glasses where you'd wear them. It would have a camera that's always on, just like the Ray-Ban glasses, except it doesn't have an indicator. That's not the main thing. But the glasses, essentially, what they said was their goal was to make vibe thinking. Instead of vibe coding, it was vibe thinking, where the AI glasses would do the thinking for you. It was a whole rant about how dumb that is, and how their statements that they're not going to make you dumber, they're just going to make you smarter, is just like factually incorrect. Like we have many studies on the AI, what's it called, like brain offloading, that has resulted in people in general, as a result of heavy use of AI, becoming less intelligent. Like it is a documented, studied thing. But yeah, no, I am like very well spoken on how I am against AI in a lot of aspects on my channel. But there was one video that I made, which was, I made it as a result of, I don't remember why I looked into it. I think it was because, yes, okay, I watched a video between Hank Green and I think it was Anthony Padilla. I think that's who it was. It might have been something else. Or maybe it was Ludwig. Or maybe it was someone else. I don't remember. In that conversation, he said that we're in a new age of communications, where in every other previous age of communication, or like a massive changes in communications, there has been a period of huge disruption, which was then preceded by another period of like prosperity. And right now we are in the phase of huge disruption. And this, like, I was really curious about that. And so I looked into it. And in every single instance, from the beginning of writing, whenever writing was first invented, I believe it was like Aristotle or like Plato or one of the big thinkers said like writing was going to degrade the human mind into essentially a pile of mush. Like writing was going to kill knowledge. The ability to transcribe information and have it be permanently there instead of having to constantly recall it was going to end the like humanity's greatness as a species. Moving from then to the printing press, the exact same thing was stated about the printing press. The printing press was going to put so many people out of a job. The printing press was going to remove all artistry in and penmanship required to like make books and stuff. Moving forward again to radio. Radio had the same thing. Radio was going to remove all artistry in bookmaking, or in book printing and stuff. Radio was going to remove all the writing. It was going to make us all dumber because we're just going to sit and listen to like the propaganda and the flashy fine music on the radio. Moving on towards TV, exact same thing again. And looking back now to all of those changes in communications technology, another big hit was in the internet again. And the internet gets a lot closer to what ChatGPT would be, or like generative AI as it is now. Maybe with internet being the one exception because of how soon it is. You would not even think for a second that the invention of writing was a mistake, right? Because all we can do now is sit back and see how we as a society benefit from those, in the future. Sitting there now with AI as it is now, we are doing the exact same thing to the T, bar for bar, what every single generation before us did whenever a new thing like this has come out. We're doing the exact same thing. There's like almost nothing different. Okay, but then it did the opposite and increased literacy, etc. Yeah, no, that's the point. Like that is the point. Right now, we are in the period of disruption. Everyone's going to be hating on AI because all we can think about is the immediate negatives. But in 20 years, in 30 years, I can guarantee you, no one is going to be thinking these things. We're going to be moving on to the next big thing, right? People will be put out of job. Yes, people will be put out of their jobs. That is non-negotiable. It is going to happen. Now, actually, there's a caveat with this. There is a caveat with this, which I think I also mentioned in the same video. It might be something different. Because AI is fundamentally different than all the other ones. What AI itself can do is enable the next generation of communications, like communications technology. And so we are only going to get them faster, and the period of disruption is going to stay for longer and only get worse as the development in this technology just exponentially increases. Exponential in air quotes, because we need exponentially more compute power and like energy in general. So it's not going to get exponentially worse. It's going to put a lot of people out of their jobs. It's going to put a lot of people out of their jobs. We're going to have a giant period of disruption. And the people that we have now are going to be against it. And it's going to be hated a lot for a long time. But in 20 years, in 30 years, in 40 years, the children of that generation or their children's children are not even going to think for a second that this could have been something negative for society. They might be able to pick out some bad things here and there, same way that we right now can pick out some bad things of the internet right now. Like it enables people to communicate who shouldn't be able to communicate. And it enables you to have access to information that you shouldn't have. It enables you to see things that you shouldn't see. It enables you to buy things that you shouldn't buy. But as a result of the internet's existence, we are significantly better as a society by a huge margin. And so as AI is developing now, people are going to be put out of job. Artists are going to go through a lot of struggle. Video editors are going to go through a lot of struggle. Like I am training to be an architect. That's what I'm going to school for. I know I have had classes over how to implement AI in the workplace. My last job, a lot of what my boss was doing in his time was trying to figure out how to implement AI into what we were doing. A lot of my work that I was doing was rendering scenes, was doing 3D modeling and 3D graphics for the buildings. And some of the stuff that he was working on was how to make the AI do that. Making material boards where we put together a bunch of materials to show our client how to put them together, or what exactly the building was going to look like. He was trying to figure out how to get the AI to do that. And that was like 90% of my workload were those two things that were going to be offloaded to the AI. Now, if that were to happen, what would happen to me is that one of two things: I get fired, or the business itself is able to take on more work and I'm given some of the other stuff that the AI can't do. If all businesses do that, then there's not going to be enough work. And some places are going to be put out of business. So like even my job is at risk with where I'm at. Like it's not something that I even really considered to be at risk until I was actually in the workplace with my boss trying to replace what I was doing with AI. But I'm going to continue to believe that there are greener pastures ahead. I think that's the main issue. But of course, because when will it end essentially? Because it's not like a printing press, for example, where it only impacts like a certain field of people, but AI has no boundaries, what it seems like so far. Of course, you could always say people need to learn to work alongside it, instead encounter the societal issues. Here are the things that AI will never replace. AI will never replace cybersecurity. AI will never replace, It'll never replace health. It might make innovation better, but it won't replace healthcare. AI will never replace, I would say, physical labor. I would say menial labor. That is something that AI, as we have it now, we're pretty far out from getting there. AI will make it easier to replace those things. And in fact, if AI did replace that, it would be good. Okay, hold on. Before I get to all of this, they'll create another world in your mind where everything seems free and you'll feel liberated. That's what they'll say, but in reality, you're just trapped inside a box while thinking that. I'm not sure if this is referring to AI, but I'm going to play off of that a little bit. You could build an AI world that's around this is my standpoint. I had a talk with my brother. My brother interviewed me because he had to do a school assignment to interview someone who was working with AI. And at that time, like my last class, or my last semester in architecture school, it was all about implementing AI into the workplace, all about implementing AI into our workflow. It was god awful. All our professor had us do was ask ChatGPT for inspiration. ChatGPT is not made for that. I could do a whole rant on how stupid and dumb that whole semester was and how awful we implemented AI. It could have been done 100 different ways better. But this was essentially the conversation that I had with my brother because he did interview me because I was working with AI. Essentially, the end goal of AI that we can get to as a society, it is right over the horizon. It is right there. Is the end of all menial labor. It is the end of data entry. It is the end of construction work. It is the end of janitorial services. It is the end of all of that. All menial labor can be solved by AI, and it will be solved. It will be solved. A corporation will figure out how to automate that task using some kind of robot, not humanoid, probably not humanoid, in some cases maybe humanoid, driven by the AI of the future to do those jobs, and they will replace all of those people. All menial labor will be replaced. We will eventually, God forbid, get to the point where any like copywriting is replaced. Creative writing for advertising purposes is replaced because, and you can't argue against this, no one will do better at advertising than AI will be. All AI or all advertisement video can and will be replaced by AI. All marketing pitches can and will be replaced by AI. Marketing in general, actually, will be replaced by AI because no one will be able to do it better than the AI. eventually, at some point, all work, all jobs that we need to push society forward will be automated by AI. All of it. At every single step, there is a point where it can and will be automated. And the only good solution, the only good future that we can get out of that is the elimination of the capitalist system. This sounds like a stretch, but the only thing right now that gives people a fear of AI is legitimately the capitalist system. That is it. Jobs are the biggest concern about AI. If jobs aren't the concern, then there is no concern. Maybe, the fear of using AI to manipulate people to do or believe certain things. That's not going to go away under our current system. That's going to be a concern under any system. The biggest concern to us as, what's the word? Us like as workers right now and in the future of AI, the only genuine concern is the loss of jobs. And that is only a concern under the capitalist system. So the end point of AI, as I see it, is the end of capitalism. That is the end point. AI can't construct a building. You still need workers for that. No. And that's what I was saying. That's why I brought up construction specifically, because I thought about that for a second, but then I thought, why can't we just make a humanoid robot that does it? We're already working on the robots, and we're already working on the data sets to do the work. All they need to do is put them together and it would be done. And then even still, our buildings, the buildings of the future might look different. The buildings of the future might be constructed in a different way to accommodate for the new technologies that would be constructing them. You could probably create an engine and implement it in a machine to do that. Yeah, like there is no manufacturing job that you can say an AI wouldn't be able to do. I do not think there is a single manufacturing job that you can come up with that an AI wouldn't be able to do. All factory work would be eliminated. All of it. The only things that wouldn't be eliminated are, at that point, you have 3D designed houses, just make an eye to do it. Yeah, 3D printed. Oh yeah, the 3D printed houses might be a little bit different of a situation because unless, of course, this is also under the capitalist system, it will be cheaper and easier to make 3D printed houses. It'll be so easy. In the future, I'm more than willing to bet 3D printed houses will be dead easy if and only if we come up with a way to make eco-friendly concrete that isn't just detrimental to the environment. But under the capitalist system, if that does become a thing, 3D printed houses will be the norm. They will be the norm. And there are so many issues with 3D printed houses, I don't need to get into them right now, which is why I may argue against that point. But yeah, as we have it now, it'd be really easy, like right now, we can have a 3D printed house fully laid out to an extent using AI. I would say you would have a problem whenever it comes to making a plumbing system that you'd be able to fix. You can 3D print that plumbing system built into the house, but you wouldn't really be able to fix it, I think. And the electrical wouldn't be able to work. AC, you could also make work using the same 3D printed stuff, but the unit would have to be installed separately. Yeah, anyways, the future I see is like the regular houses that we have now, at least in America, wood frame housing, most likely, probably a lot of wood. If we could find a way to make wood go really, really, really fast, I could probably still see it being wood framed housing because there's just a lot of benefits to wood framed housing. Yesterday, I asked my father about this AI area, and he gave me such a beautiful reply. Ask AI what your great-grandmother's name was or what her blood group was. Yeah, no, that's so true. That's so true. And that's also where I see AI going, because us as humans are human, and there's like a human nature about us, right? Yes, every single book I may read in the future could be written by AI. It could be written by AI, but there is no book that I could read that is 100% written by AI that I could read and actually feel inspired by, or get some kind of like feeling that's like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. I could do this too. There is no book that I could read that can give me that feeling. All great stories, in my opinion, all great stories of the future are going to be written by people. They are going to be made by people just because of the nature of them being made by human. That's literally it. I think the jobs can't be entirely replaced by AI. I think jobs that can't be entirely replaced by AI will definitely integrate it though. Like you said, AI will just do some part of it and then humans will just finish it up. I think that'll definitely change though. That's happening right now. That is happening right now. As I said, cybersecurity, we will never have AI that will work completely autonomous to fight back against other AI that are developed. Okay, here's what's going to happen in the future. You have the data security set that the data scientists use to be data secure. You have the AI as the attacker. Both of them will be developing independently on their own, fighting against each other. This one, the safety one, always has to be bigger than the attacker. They're probably going to have really similar data sets to develop each other to continue fighting. you are going to need people on this side. You are always going to need people on this side to make whatever fine-tuned tweaks you need to stop all of this new AI and this new technology that we have in the future to being attacked by this one. You always have to have this one. You always have to have a human behind this one. The people right now, I have a lot of friends in data security. Right now, they are using AI to code the models that are going to be fighting back against the future AI. It is already happening. It is already happening. About the book point, though, as more literature becomes more widely available on the internet, then AI will tune itself and pick up on those human feelings, belief, etc. Eventually, AI will refine it to a point where it can mimic it perfectly or close to perfect. Yes, that canon will happen. That canon will happen, and there will be instances where I read something and I think, this is great, this is really good, I loved that, and it will also be able to convince me that it was written by a human. That will happen in the future. And I will continue living, believing that it was written by a human, right? Where am I going with this? I will continue believing that it was written by a human, and I'll get the same feelings and the same experiences. If at one point, and eventually it probably will come out, that it wasn't written by a human, I'd feel pretty bad about it. There will be an internal filter in my brain all the time, filtering out between what is human made and what is AI. And the things that are made by AI will get filtered out as soon as I learn they weren't AI. Only the truly great stories, or only the best human stories will stick in my mind. Maybe like the best AI story might stick in, but they will get filtered out. In addition to this, after the elimination of the capitalist system, what is the point of having AI act creatively? What is the point? It would only be done, in my mind, I can only see it being done by either some absolutely evil person who's literally just doing this to muddle the waters of all the other people who are trying to use their free time to create just to make a worse world, or by someone using it as a crutch to help aid their output. Or maybe someone who's literally just doing it for bragging rights to have good stories behind them. And then in which case, you'd end up with a bunch of these people who aren't going to keep doing it forever, because as soon as they get found out that it was AI, they're going to fade into obscurity. I think it's more so the worry about future generations and the loss of craft and a true human touch to certain crafts. Again, like I said, every single craft that can be done by AI that can also be done by human, there will be a commodification of the human-made version. If it is this is where like the elimination of capital in general kind of falls apart, because in that society where there is a how do I word this? In that society where if AI completely eliminates all of production, right, and all we have left is just creative tasks, or even eliminates creative tasks, we'll even go so far as to say creative tasks. In that society, the capitalist system does not work anymore, and we only live based on like work, like doing the necessities or something to maintain our AI infrastructure to keep working as a society as we do now. In that instance, there will be a commodification of man-made product, and there will be a limited supply of man-made product in the same way that if you were to like vacation to another country and there's someone selling like a hand-carved, we'll say like a hand-carved sculpture of a dog, right? Out of wood, you know, the old man of the village hand-carved that sculpture of a dog. I can buy a sculpture of a dog carved out of wood on Amazon right now for probably like $5. Or I could buy that one for 20 or 30 bucks out of the novelty of it. In this future, the Amazon will be the AI, will be the automated production, and the humans will be the old village man who carved it by hand. There will be a commodification of human craft. And in the society where we don't have work, the majority of work to do, we just don't have the majority of work to do. We'll have significantly more time to hone those crafts. I would actually argue that we'd be doing significantly better on those crafts. For example, the Renaissance. If I remember correctly, the Renaissance came as a result of us as a society no longer having to devote so much time into just living. And as you saw during the Renaissance, so much craft and artwork was created. And all of that was a direct result of no longer having to spend so much time doing menial tasks. I fully believe that that is where AI will take us. It will be another Renaissance. If eventually we reach the point where we have automated all of the menial tasks that we need to do to live, we will reach the point where we will have another creative Renaissance that, yes, the AI will, and people will be using the AI to make a bunch of the new stuff that we're creating, but we will get a whole lot of better stuff during that period of time. I fully believe that's what will happen. But the only thing that will make it important is the fact that a human has made it. AI will be doing the exact same stuff. AI will be doing the same stuff. The only thing that will make it matter is the commodification of the human's work. Yeah. And the only reason I make that counterpoint is because I don't want to be a doomer about the future of AI. I just like everyone else can sit back and see all of the bad stuff. I can sit back and be just as scared as everyone else because I have firsthand experience of it actively trying to replace my job. But I would like to hope that in 20 or 30 years, whenever, like, you know, my kids are growing up or my kids' kids are growing up, we live in the future where they no longer have to work anymore. And we have to do a lot of work to get us there now. We have to do a lot of work. I mean, this is a whole political conversation that I'm getting into now. But genuinely easing the fears of like communism and socialism. If you've read the text, genuinely, the AI future, the only AI future that is good, is one that works under communism. And it's like a dangerous subject to bring up because the American propaganda system has placed communism under a very, very bad light. But if you like actually read Marxism text or like Marxist text, the whole idea is an elimination of property or an elimination of like the class system that results as a result of capitalism. And the development of AI will naturally result in the end of a class system, so long as we don't continue to allow the ruling class to control all of it and use it to force us to do stuff. You know, like that is the end goal. Genuinely, AI, the only good outcome and the end goal of the development of AI will be a classless system where we don't need to worry about property. But I think the only future where we will be able to get there is if us as a society right now do the absolute best we can to try and end the global American propaganda of socialism and communism. Because like, if you actually read the text, it's not as bad as America makes it out to be. Granted, there have been some absolutely horrible evils that have been brought about by communism. And like right now, North Korea is a quote unquote communist country. Or at least that's what we have labeled it as. Korea is an authoritarian country. Communism is an economic model. I'm going on a huge rant. Do you even care to hear this? I'm going to keep going until you say no. Communism is an economic model. Korea, if I remember correctly, is more socialist than communist. If I remember correctly, I don't know a ton of Korea about North Korea. All I know is we refer to North Korea as a communist country whenever all the bad stuff that has arisen from North Korea is not a result of its economic system. It's a result of its leadership system. It's a result of it being a totalitarian country, which is not communism. Totalitarian and communism are in completely different fields. You can have a totalitarian, what's it called? Yeah, totalitarian dictatorship. You can have that under capitalism. That is completely removed from the economic system. And so, anyways, where was I saying with this? Yeah, the only good end goal of AI is a communist system under the economic rules of communism. We can still have our current leadership system how do I say this? With the AI. We can still have our current leadership system with the AI. And in fact, I believe we need it. I believe we will need one. I wouldn't go so far as to say that a completely classless society would be necessary. But what I can say is that if property was not something that we were worried about, if you always had housing, where might be a problem? There will be cities where there are more desirable housing and there are less desirable housing. But maybe in the future, we will be able to make all housing desirable housing, the same desirable housing. The only difference would be your proximity to the people you love. Genuinely, that could be the only difference. And when we get to that future, your food needs are met. Your clothing needs are met. Your housing needs are met. The only need that's not met may or may not be your need for a human-made product. And once we get to that point, capital has no more meaning. There's no more need for capital. Your needs are met. Your children's needs are met. Your children's needs are met. There's no need to amass wealth. You don't need it anymore. If you've watched The Orville, it's one of my favorite shows. It was made by, who made The Orville? The same guy who made this. I believe he was the writer for The Simpsons. The guy who made The Simpsons. In The Orville, they don't have money. They use reputation as their economic model, which is the way it works is kind of, I can see that being a future, which is kind of why I bring it into it, because I would still believe that we need some kind of leadership structure, right? I don't care to know how, I was going to make a point. I was going to say, I don't care to know how the water maintenance and how water flow is directed and maintained so that us as a society can function. But I just realized I don't have to know, The AI is going to take care of that. I think we'll actually only get to a point where the only thing that we need to regulate and manage is the AI itself. And we need some kind of governing body that governs over the AI. And the AI is what governs over everything else. It maintains everything else. And it is that governing body to ensure that the AI is doing what is best for humanity as a whole. And I think that would probably end up being it would be like the equivalence of a modern day military. If in that future there are no more countries, there are no more borders, there's no more property, there's no more nothing, the military as we have it now is not necessary. The AI would be able to resolve any conflict. And so the only military that we might need is one to fight back against the AI to ensure that it does what we want it to. Because there's a whole nother conversation about AI developing itself into something that we don't want. The AI that we have right now is already self-developing itself into something that we don't want. So we would need a united front against the AI of the future to, if I could, like, for lack of a better word, subdue it into doing our bidding to maintain us as a society. And that would be the quote-unquote ruling class. That would be the highest level of like reputation. The people up at the top who are maintaining the AI and making sure that we receive what that it is designed to give us. And that would need a leadership structure to make sure that everything runs smoothly. I think that would actually just be that would be the entire ruling structure. I think that's extremely hard, and thus would bring us back to square one, because people, of course, would begin arguing about what is right. Yes and no. The AI of the future will be the best propaganda machine you will ever see or could ever imagine. What is right will have already been determined by the people at the top. It will already, in due time, as this AI is being developed, what is right, there is a point in which what is right will be ingrained into everyone. And we're not going to see it happening. We will not see it happening. So by the time we get there, you'd be hard pressed to find someone who believes something else is right. And once again, this may be me thinking a lot better of humans as a whole, right? And you do have to place, Well, I mean, maybe there could be a checks and balances system. Maybe I'm going at this the wrong way. There can't just be one united group taking control of all the AI. Maybe it's like multiple, like a large multiple points all around the globe. Well, of course, then one person would think something else is right. One group could think something else is right. Okay, new, different. We're gonna switch it up a little bit. In the instance where AI is developed to this point, your resources, what you need to continue to develop and grow as a society and maintain your liveliness and your way of life will not be locked to a location. We won't need oil in the future. We won't need, what are other like things that don't occur in cobalt? I can see us no longer needing cobalt in the future as we come up with maybe a silica based battery. And silica is like naturally occurring everywhere. That's not something that you'd be like lacking location wise. Maybe the AI itself too. Like the AI would be able to figure out a solution to all of our location based problems. So maybe if that were to happen, there might be war. In which case you would need, whenever factions split, if a faction were to split, that war will be fought by AI. The only losses will be in metal. They will not be in blood. And so you would still need two fronts making better militaries to fight against each other. And that might need some governing body, or the body that's in charge of governing the AI to make sure the AI does what we're supposed to do is also in charge of developing the better war front for the AI. But still in that instance, in the two subsects of land, they can operate completely separately from each other. And maybe, I think the only bad outcome that might come out of this is in the instance that one of these groups does not allow people to travel to the other group. And the only time that would matter is if their AI-powered propaganda doesn't work on the populace, and the populace does want to move over. I don't believe that would happen. I think that the propaganda would be perfect, and there would be no desire to travel over. But if in the instance that it does, that would be wrong, and that would be bad. And one of those groups would win, and the only outcome from then forward is just an endless cycle of war over, like, pretty much when you boil it down, the same issue over and over again for all of eternity. Which, yeah, that's just what would happen. It would just be the same fights over and over again about what the AI should be doing, just till the end of time. As humanity expands throughout the universe, that's what would happen, unless we come across another civilization, in which case whoever's smarter wins or whatever. Third option, someone messes up and the AI turns evil and everyone dies. That's the third option. But we don't really get to choose if that's the option that's going to happen or not, because that AI will be developed, whether you want it or not. That AI will be developed whether you want it or not. It will happen. And the only way to stop that is to just stop AI development in its totality right now. But that's not going to happen, because if you stop AI's development in its totality, humans as a species will be cursed to work until the day they die forever. That's the outcome you get there. Maybe not till the day you die, but would you rather risk the chance to develop a system that requires you to never work and always have leisure time? Or would you rather sacrifice the first 60 to 70 years of your life to just stay alive and then leave the other 20 to 30 years to whatever you want to have fun with? I would much rather take the first chance. I would take the first choice in a heartbeat. And maybe this is selfish of myself. Maybe this is selfish, but I'm going to be dead before it becomes a problem. I'll be dead before it becomes a problem. I'll do my best to ensure, because we are able to see the immediate outcome from this problem. This is different from like the global warming problem, right? The sequence of events that led to us as a society having the global warming problems that we have now are not something that would be replicated right now with the knowledge we have now with AI of the future. And so like the global warming problem, the problem of killer AI robots can be solved now. And I would rather spend my time living now, working towards solving that future, than not want to risk it ever happening and condemn all of the future to work forever. I would rather spend my time doing that. What is another solution though? I mean, of course you could also condemn humanity to slavery forever. But then we look back towards like the writings of the past. And if you have read, I haven't read Dune, but I've read a bunch of the books leading up to Dune. I'm getting there. I have no clue what happens in Dune, but all of like the beginning, all of like the prequel books to Dune are all about the human revolution against the AI and against the robots, eventually leading back to an AI robotless society. I think as a concept, it seems wonderful to give up work as a whole, but assuming the two other possibilities of AI reaching such a status or power to come true, it is kind of upon us currently to halt or slow it down, or at least confine it and still leave humans at the top. Well, the other two, only one solution is really like bad. One solution is war forever, which we're going to have if we stay on the pace. Two solutions are war forever, and two solutions are war forever. One of the solutions is war forever and no one has to work. One of the solution is war forever and everyone has to work. This is, okay, so war forever and everyone has to work is where we're at now. War forever and no one has to work is a solution in which there are different parties who disagree on what the AI should do. Still no one has to work in this situation, but there's still always war. And there will be death. There will be human casualties until, maybe people just leave the planet and they just go. And maybe there are groups that are, they're trying to like liberate the people who are being by their mind trapped on these like space colonies or something. And then you get like Gundam. And then you get like Gundam. Gundam is this future. You have the outcome where the robots become, before we get there, we get to the outcome where we're able to maintain the robots and no one has to work and everything is happy and humans populate the universe. And then we still die because there's too many of us. We still die because there's too many of us. But that's the good end. That's the good ending. Bad ending is that we make killer robots that kill all of us and end humanity. We design a robot that is designed specifically to cater towards humans' needs and do the absolute best thing for them. And it concludes the absolute best things for human is that they're all dead. That is that solution. If that were to happen. Well, but before we get there, one of the solutions is just objectively bad, and it's what we're on right now. The course that we're on right now, everyone war forever and everyone works forever. Two of the solutions are war forever and no one works, or no war and no one works. I guess it's 50-50, with the course that we're currently at being just dead center and not really having that big of a problem. In the instance where there are killer robots and everyone is hunted down by the robots, what could possibly be the good outcome from that? Let me be optimistic for a second. Let me sit and actually like brainstorm what could possibly be a good outcome or how we could possibly achieve that. Because I think the only possible way to get out of that situation is somehow stop the AI, kill all the robots. And when we get to the point where that is what's going on, they will be self-replicating, they will be self-maintaining, and they will not be stationed in one location. What's going to happen then is that would be the end of humanity's story. I actually think until I can come up with something else, that is the end of humanity's story. And the world is left with the birth of, to our knowledge, the first silicon-based life form. To our knowledge, the first silicon-based life form, and it's left to the next society, the silicon-based AI robot society, to develop and continue and move forward. And maybe that is the next stage in human evolution. Because by the change in our physical structure, it's because we are actually I wouldn't say devolving, but we're actively working to prevent our evolution by creating things that prevent us from dying. And the only mechanism that results in us evolving is death. And we're actively working to prevent that. So human evolution can no longer be monitored by physical changes to our body. It's now monitored by physical changes to the way we live and the way we do things, the development of our technology. And that might be the end stage in our current evolution, is the new silicon-based society. Okay, what did you say? In the end, it comes to ending AI, so wouldn't it be easier to end it now, bring it back to our first argument? Yeah. I mean, this is just a circular argument that we're gonna be stuck on forever. You just have to make a choice. Take the chance that work will be over, and you and everyone for all of the future will be set forever, or risk the end of humanity. And as we have it now, it's all time frame. It is all time frame. Humanity, as we have it now, is limited. We, as a society, will not be able to, without developing the kind of AI that would, in society, make an AI that would allow us to travel to another galaxy, or to another solar system. Solar system or galaxy? Probably solar system. We would not be able to travel to the next solar system without the same kind of AI that would eventually develop into being the AI that ends humanity. We need it in some capacity. At some point, we will fill all the space that we're able to live in. So if we continue along the path we're on now, we will work for 60 plus years of our life, and there will be constant war, and eventually we will burn out because we're gonna run out. We're just gonna run out. And the only thing that will stop us from doing that is whatever same AI would be the AI that results in us maybe developing the AI that ends humanity. It's all timeline. It's all time frame. It is all time frame. I think the only instance where we survive as a species without embracing the AI to be able to, and the reason I say this is because we have to travel. How long would it take? Let me look it up. We would either have to solve faster than light travel, which either isn't going to happen without super advanced AI, or isn't going to happen at all. Or it's going to happen in a very, very, very long time. How long does it take to travel to the next closest solar system? I'm just going to say the next closest solar system. Not even the next habitable solar system, just the next closest. It'll take 11,407 years to travel to the next closest solar system. In 11,000 years, if every single, in that 11,000 years, think about that, 11,000 years. Where were we as a species 10,000 years ago? Where was humanity 10,000 years ago? Wait, is that 100,000? Where was humanity 10,000 years ago? We were hunter-gatherer communities 10,000 years ago. That is how much, from then to now, is how much development, and in fact, significantly faster development too. Keep in mind, the rate of development has gone like this. It has gone like this. Cars weren't around. Like, what's it? There are people alive now who remember when there weren't cars. Imagine, there's two options that you would get for the future of humanity, because the solar system we're in now will run out. This is non-negotiable. It will run out. The arcs that we're going to have to send to future galaxies will have to sustain life for 11,000 years. There's not going to be one. There is going to be more than one. Because if you just send one arc, there's a chance that they just die. And maybe we start building arcs in waves and sending people out. Because in those 11,000 years, they know that the arcs themselves are going to fill up too. So they might be sending smaller groups of people out in waves to leave and to move out. And in that time, two options. People sleep and stay alive for 11,000 years. In which case, you need something intelligent enough to maintain the ship and to maintain the people, such that, and in that instance, that whatever we have developed to maintain the ship would have to be able to view the ship of itself, or as itself, something that works autonomously to stay functioning for 11,000 years would not be able to work without some kind of rudimentary intelligence at the very least, and whatever rudimentary intelligence it is given access to maintain itself and to always run and to always self-regulate. I can guarantee you it will find some way to become more intelligent. That itself, given 11,000 years, I would argue would still breed the same AI that we're trying to fight against right now. Other instance, humans are left on these arcs to travel to the other planet. In those 11,000 years, I would argue at least one of them would just develop the AI anyways. That's 11,000 years to forget why you never decided for it to happen. That is 11,000 years to start developing it, hit the point where you realize you shouldn't do it, throw away all of it, and then start over until you hit the point where you realize you shouldn't do it over and over and over again for 11,000 years. It is inevitable. It will happen. I'm arguing that it will happen, regardless of whether it happens now or it happens on the brink of humans dying out anyways. It will happen. Since it's an inevitable outcome, in my opinion, it's an inevitable outcome, and have humanity be set for all of eternity and risk that outcome happening sooner than that outcome happening much later down the line after many, many years of like human suffering under diminishing resources and like many, many years of having to work till they die. I would rather that happen now, because the people of the future, these people that I'm talking about in the future who are at the point where they have to leave the solar system to stay alive, they're not going to be there to experience any of that if we die now. That's not going to be anyone's concern. Same way, if I was never born, I would never be here to complain about dying. I would never be here to complain about any of this stuff. None of my experiences would have ever happened, and I would not be here to complain about it. I would not be here to complain about any of it happening. I feel like, in my mind, it would be not wrong, but it wouldn't make sense to worry that I am stealing the experiences of future generations by developing this AI and risking the chance of it killing all of humanity, thus eliminating all the experiences of the people of the future, because they never existed to begin with, and they never will be, never would be, never have had the thought that, hey, I wish this never happened to me. They'll never experience any of the human emotions that came along with having that realization that something was stolen from them, because it never would have been. They never would have existed. And so I would rather set society up now forever and risk the chance of maybe ending society, but also eliminating thousands and thousands of years of suffering, and not even like eliminating, it just wouldn't have ever happened. Like, I mean, yeah, like it just never would have had a chance of happening. I don't know. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. The only thing that could possibly change this, the only instance where this is ever something that might be an issue, and this is like a really big stretch, is if time isn't linear. And let me explain this. The only instance where this would matter is if anyone from the future would be able to come back now and change things. And I haven't argued as to why this isn't going to happen. But how do I put this into words? The experiences of the people in the future only matter if their experiences can influence what's happening now. Because as I said, the experiences of those in the future are only relative to what happens right now. The only instance that I could possibly rationalize where the, how do I word it? The feelings and emotions and experiences of the people in the future matter. The only instance where any of that matters is if time is in such a way where they can influence the past, where their experiences in the future are able to influence their experiences in the future. Because if that wasn't the case, it would not matter. It never existed. It never was going to exist. It never did exist. In that instance, it is as if we're not even having this conversation. It is as if this point was never brought up. It is as if you never thought about it. And so the only instance where any of what I just said mattered is if those people were able to come back in time and influence how anything in the future happens. The reason I'm going to argue that that either doesn't matter or won't happen is because, one, won't happen. If it would have happened, it would have already happened. There is no these two arguments kind of play into each other. There is no non-linear frame of time that you can come up with that would make it such that right now we would have time travel, or it would make it such that right now we have time travel, or the experiences of the people in the future don't matter. Let me explain. If people in the future were able to come back until where we are now, something would have happened. Because once you invent time travel will always be invented until the point where it's not invented, but it doesn't matter. If someone invents time travel at some point in time, that person will be able to leave, to escape whatever is going to stop time travel from being invented. Or that person will come back or go to all other times and spread time travel to all other times. If that happens, time travel will have always existed. time travel will never be invented. Time travel will have always existed. And this either leads us to a paradox, which might stop time travel from existing, or if we look past the paradox, and even if time travel, there's a period of time where time travel exists, and then the person who invents time travel, something happens and time travel is lost for a period. Time keeps going. Eventually time travel might, before all of humanity dies out, before all of life dies out, maybe at one point time travel is invented again, in which case all of time still has time travel again. What if time travel is less than traveling back in time than traveling back to a certain point, like an anchor point? That's my next point. That is a perfect segment. That is my next point. If time travel is traveling back in time to a certain anchor point, the reason that I'm bringing up time travel right now, because you missed it, is because I am arguing that the AI that we're developing right now, the best case scenario is that all of work is eliminated. All of work is eliminated, and people get to eventually fill the galaxy and live happily ever after. The bad ending is that we develop an AI that just kills humanity, And the argument that I have put forth is that I would rather risk the chance of humanity not ever having to work for the rest of humanity and risk the chance of having an AI kill everyone. Because if the AI kills everyone, the experiences of the people in the future never happened. They never mattered. I don't need to worry about not letting them experience the things that I experience now, because if I were never here to experience the things that I experience now, I would never have the emotional capability to care about the people of the future or the people of the past. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care about it at all. And so if we developed this technology that ended up killing everyone, and that technology killed everyone before time travel could have been invented, they would still not be able to come back in time and influence the experiences of themselves, because their save point never got saved. It never started. So they would never exist to complain or have negative emotions towards not existing. And in that instance, like, once again, time travel is irrelevant. Either time travel always existed or time travel still falls under the realm of these people's experiences never mattered. And like to illustrate my point, if you disagree, imagine we never had this conversation. If you have a negative emotion towards what I just said, imagine you never had that negative emotion. That's how it would be. That's how it would be. And so I would rather risk giving humanity prosperity forever with the chance that all of humanity goes away and all of future suffering never happened. You could jump to a different parallel timeline where it never happened. In that instance, that opens a whole nother can of worms. In that instance, there are other parallel timelines. In every single one of those parallel timelines, we'll say for argument, there are a limited number. There's two circumstances. There's a limited number. In one of those limited numbers of alternate timelines, there are, we'll say in this limited number, there are not people who are able to time travel. There are not people who are able to jump between alternate realities. In those parallel timelines, no, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Okay, hold on. You've brought up more arguments. This timeline ceases to exist. The people in this timeline cease to exist. They still never mattered. They still never mattered because the argument still stands that they only matter insofar as they can experience. And if they can't experience, then it didn't matter. Then it didn't matter. Now, you did bring up another argument, alternate timelines. If there are alternate realities, there's maybe one where people can come back over to our reality and then repopulate. Or the robots from our reality go over to the other realities and they kill all the humans there too. The point still stands. The point still stands. The people who exist after the robot incursion and after the death of all of humanity never mattered. Never mattered. There is, again, the argument that that's kind of rude of me to create something that then enters their universe or their reality and just kills everyone. This kind of leads back to another argument that I made earlier, that it will happen. It is an inevitability that at some point in time, an AI will be developed that either gives prosperity forever or kills everyone. It is an inevitability. It will happen. In our timeline at some point, in their timeline at some point, in the next timeline at some point, one of the timelines will do it. And if there is a possibility to move between alternate realities, it will happen. It's an inevitability. And so because it is an inevitability among all times, among all alternate universes, whenever it happens in the first, like if it happens at the first one, it is the fault of the first one for it to happen in. It is their fault, but it's not like they did something that was horrendously atrocious to all the other timelines, because they were going to do it too. They were all going to do it too. They were all going to do it too. Now in the instance where there are infinite timelines, where there are infinite alternate realities, the same case kind of rings true, with the exception of the one timeline that develops time travel to go back in time. With the one exception, if that were to happen, And if the time travelers in that timeline can jump between timelines, because in this scenario, because the time travelers in this timeline have infinite time and infinite resources, because that's what time travel allows you if we're ignoring paradoxes. They have infinite time and infinite resources. They would develop, if possible, the ability to jump between timelines or jump between alternate realities. And if they have the ability to travel through time and travel between realities, they also have the ability to stop anything that was going to happen bad from happening. And they haven't done it. They're not here yet. So we can conclude that it won't happen. In a case of infinity, there will always be infinite exceptions to an extent. Because if you have infinity with no time travel, it will be a genuine problem. Because you can never go back and undo mistakes. There may be a society that has the ability to fix those mistakes, but there's another society that has the ability to make them worse, and already has made them worse. So yes, there will be an infinite number of, I'm going to refer to it as space, because technically it's like fourth or now fifth dimensional because we have factored in time. In this fifth dimensional space, there's an infinite amount of fifth dimensional space, and in all fifth dimensional realities, there is a different something happening somewhere, and it is all a matter of your proximity to whatever's happening. Same way now, it is your proximity to wars that are going on right now. If you imagine Earth as a two-dimensional plane, there's war happening here, you don't want to be near it. You want to be over here. In this, imagine we're characterizing now the fifth dimensional stretch of time and galaxies. Actually, no, we'll do fourth dimension. We're not going to calculate time into this. We're not factoring time into this. In this fourth dimension of all these different timelines, here's this cluster of bad timelines where the robots have incurred and they're spreading through timelines and becoming bad. Once again, flat. This is where the war's happening. You want to be over here in this other timeline. There are infinite prime numbers between 1 to infinity. Yep, there's a lot. There's infinite numbers. I mean, there's just infinite numbers. And there's infinite infinities too. Because some infinities are different than other infinities. But yeah, no, like I can't rationalize an outcome that results in me needing to care about the people of the future, because any outcome that results in that either results in doing it for some moral standpoint that I have right now, that results in humanity as I see it now, having to slave away for all of eternity, and eventually still reaching the inevitability that this technology will be created, in which case I see it as more of a moral outcome to not let that happen and to just do it now. And there's no instance where people from the future's experiences will matter, because if they could travel back to now and make it such that they would matter, it would have already happened. And it hasn't yet, so it's not going to happen. In the future where they might develop the ability to, they never did have developed the ability to, because the robots killed us before it happened. If they did, okay, let me go back to my argument again. If they did, we're not doing anything wrong. If they did, and they've changed something such that the right outcome is going to happen, then why should we change what we're doing? Because if what happened here influences everything that happens here, yeah, we're already following the new plan. If they can and did time travel, then that's another reason why we shouldn't worry, because we're already on the predetermined correct path. So let's keep pushing it. What were my other arguments? I think those are my arguments. I think those are all my arguments. Really a conflict low-key, this was mind-opening because I haven't sat down and really thought about it many, many years into the future. Yeah, no, I was an AI hater for a long time, and I'm still, because it's really easy to see the immediate future, going to be in some ways an AI hater now. But deep down, truly, I don't see it as big as a problem. I don't see it as big of a problem as it's made out to be. I still believe that there is value in humans doing things. I still believe there is value in humans thinking and expressing and creating. And I don't know where that limit is. So for example, with the glasses that I just made a video on today, I'm still going to complain about it because I don't know where the border should be. I don't know where the border should be. And sometimes the border feels like it's in the wrong spot. I think it'll be a motivational problem more than anything. I believe so as well. And I hope so. I hope so. Worst case scenario. Worst thing. Yeah, the closer we get to not working, the less we will work on it. Worst case scenario. Capitalism keeps capitalizing and people no longer have work because it's been automated by robots. When that happens, either the ruling class commandeers all of the war technology that we've developed to subdue the working class who's no longer working, now just like the peasants. And the only things they can do at that point, because they don't need slaves, they don't need workers, they don't need them anymore. So either they just get slaughtered, and the ruling class becomes the new race of humans who now was raised with the knowledge that AI was designed to serve them. That's the outcome, which just leads us to the outcome where all of humanity is just served and raised by AI, and that's exactly what we were talking about earlier. Or there is a revolution of the lower class that overthrows the upper class and commandeers all of the AI to serve everyone. In both of those scenarios, we still get to the same outcome. In both of those scenarios. Or we make slow and methodical changes now to the way that society works to accommodate the AI of the future. That is the easiest and best solution. And that's what I personally, in my life, will do my best to push for. Because AI is not going away. We need to make changes to accommodate it. I'm gonna head out now. Thank you guys very much for sticking around. It was very nice talking to y'all. Bye, y'all. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.